Welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast, episode 67. I'm Ian Scott.
And I'm Zack Huber.
And this is the podcast where we talk about film and TV topics from the last week and give them to you all this week. And this week we have a very exciting slate because a big event just went down.
Another big event.
Spoil what it is until we get to it.
But in the meantime, which you probably know if you click
right, if you're following
the news, I guess
we'll
we'll hold you in anticipation. We're also going to talk about the Marvel Studios movie slate and kind of talk about the to be announced dates and what we think they are. The first trailer for Saturday Night, which is a movie by Jason Reitman, who is son of Ivan Reitman, who made Ghostbusters, and it is the movie retelling the first 90 minutes before the first Saturday Night Live show.
Jason Reitman also directed the first or the last two Ghostbusters movies, right?
Not the last one, but the one.
Oh, the one before it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we will also be talking about our House of the Dragon season 2 / finale review. But like Ian said, we're going to talk about D23, which is still technically ongoing, but kind of all the things that I imagined that we wanted to talk about, despite maybe the Marvel animation division that is getting discussed today.
Which, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of their animation division, so I'm okay. I mean, obviously, I think X-Men 97 was pretty popular. But
yes, and I think they are going to talk about Spider-Man freshman year. But we're going to talk about the mostly Marvel and Star Wars stuff that was announced. But we do have a couple things at the end regarding live action Disney and Pixar. Only kind of the stuff that was interesting to us, I guess. But I'll let Ian start it off with our the stuff we got out about Daredevil.
Yeah. So there was a leaked teaser trailer that I got to watch. But it's not a huge trailer. But there are some exciting things that happen in it. And maybe it's funny because like some of the descriptions that came out afterwards, I don't remember in the trailer, but basically they have Matt Murdock at the beginning of this trailer go and visit White Tiger, and we see I guess in prison, and we see a comic accurate White Tiger suit. We see Frank Castle come back, and he gets into a fight with Matt Murdock.
With a beard. He's got a beard now.
He does have a beard. You're right. We got to see a sit down meeting with Matt Murdock and Kingpin, where basically Daredevil's like, if you get out of line, I'll be right there. And so, I don't know if a lot of fans are going to love that maybe Matt Murdock's turning a blind eye to Kingpin, or maybe they're working together. It's kind of like, I think some people are assuming they're going to have a little bit of a team up this season. We saw, like him save Kamala Khan's father, and he saved him, right? Or something. It was something like that in the trailer.
I actually don't know.
Okay, you didn't watch it.
I just know that Kamala Khan's father is in it, which, like, I don't necessarily think that we're going to see like Miss Marvel show up necessarily. But sure. I think it's kind of,
but it's good. Neat. It's good world building in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And so we also got a little appearance of Muse in this, and it looks like might be the main villain for this season, and it's pretty exciting stuff. They also announced that season 2 is already starting to film, or is about to begin filming,
which is wild.
And, that's amazing.
Honestly, I think that's
it's how shows should work. Like start filming the second season before the first one even comes out.
Yeah, but I do think that it's also I think with the way that TV would normally work, it wouldn't be such a long process. Like TV is usually like record it in like the fall, come out in the spring. So then like if how like the show's doing, you can then kind of do start shooting again.
You get on a good schedule and people don't have to wait a year and a half, 2 years for a season.
Right. Yep. So this to me seems like they have confidence in the show that they're happy with it. Because I don't think that for the most, like they didn't do that with Loki. They haven't done it with any other show. And obviously everybody's super excited about it. I didn't know much about Muse before hearing the confirmation that they're going to be in this. For anybody who doesn't know, from what I learned, from what Ian learned, is he is like a serial killer kind of artist of sorts who believes that him making them into art imbues them with like adds them to like a higher purpose of some kind. Serial killer shit, you know.
I think it's like a really great villain for like a Daredevil Batman type story, honestly. Like I could see this villain like right up in like Matt Reeves like his universe, you know. Right.
And I was reading that let me pull it up or if it'll let me. He has what are they called? It's the same way that like Daredevil kind of takes in the hearing aspect. Apparently, like Muse takes in like all sensational aspects. So it's kind of like
that's funny.
Yeah,
like that's I say that's funny because like that's what I wanted with Echo, where somebody had a different kind of like heightened sense that was a foe. And I thought that was going to be Echo, but she doesn't have a different kind of heightened sense. So,
imperceptibility, as well as super strength and super speed. But
that's what Muse has?
Apparently.
Geez, super speed. What the hell?
I think kind of like to the
like fast reflexes, maybe more so. Or okay,
that's what I'm gathering. So sensory information. It's from the Marvel wiki says his body acts like a vortex, which can pull in every bit of sensory information around him, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think like serial killer story on top of like a Kingpin becoming mayor, and that could potentially be messing with his campaign or his mayoral abilities if he already is mayor. I don't know,
and so that's why they need to kind of work together. And
because if he is the mayor, and like this is just speculating, but if he is the mayor, like you could take him down, you could, but also, and hopefully he's not doing anything shady. Maybe he still is, probably still is.
Yeah, I'm for sure he is. Yeah,
but
do you think Echo gave him a change of heart, and now he's good? You know,
I don't know.
I mean, that's what they implied, right? I mean, almost.
I think like if it was bad enough, like Daredevil would probably do something. But at the same time, if like you're the mayor, I don't know what the chain of command is. Maybe it'd be fine. Maybe if like, oh, you bust the mayor, goes to this person, everything's cool. But it could cause problems potentially. Maybe there's a bit of like, hey, I don't want to disrupt the city. It's already messed up. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, everything that I was seeing about this like sounds pretty cool. I think, but like we were saying, like I think the most interesting part is Muse. I like having a somewhat sort of like serial killer mystery, but
and
the white tiger bit doesn't really do too much for me. I'm sure it'll be cool to see, but
I agree. Yeah, I was gonna say though that I think the new suit for Daredevil I think looks really good. I like the color he's got. It's a little bit different of like a red.
I actually don't know if I saw the new suit. I'll try pulling it up, but I did see.
It's definitely different from like his old suit, and definitely different from She-Hulk.
I like that She-Hulk suit.
Sure, but I don't think it would work for like his own show, to be honest.
That was 6 months ago. Let me see if I can pull anything up.
But yeah, I think we also saw Punisher's suit as well in the trailer. I don't know if it's different at all, to be honest. But yeah, this is gonna have a 13 episode first season from what I hear.
Nice.
And it's gonna come out next year, 2025. Still no release date or specific release date, but yeah.
I did want to say, even though I don't think I'm going to be able to see the photo of the suit while we're talking, but I did see the multiple cowls that were on display.
Yeah.
I don't know if all of them are going to be in it, but
like he'll use them throughout the season, maybe, or maybe not. But
maybe. But I did really like the two on the far right. If anybody wants to go, out and look for those,
right,
those particular images, but they were like blood red cowls, and the
I don't recall what they look like at the moment, but
the one on the furthest on the right was like a bit different shape because the rest of them all kind of look the same. And then they have the red-ish light red eyes, which I thought was cool.
Right. Yeah, that's super dope.
But yeah, I'm excited. I think when does it come out? Do you know?
It's just next year, from what I hear. Just 2025. Yeah.
Can't be specific. Next year.
Can't be too specific. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's not this year, but I'm pretty sure it's 2025. I don't think it's this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks pretty good so far. But yeah, so next, the thing that we want to talk about from D23 is new Agatha All Along trailer. This one I can't say was any better than the first for me. I think honestly it was worse than the first one. Because I feel like I got more of an understanding of what the show is about in this trailer, and that doesn't excite me. I'll just say, like, it feels like the premise, at least what they set up in this trailer, is that she's covenless. She needs her own coven to get to the end of this witch's road, and at the end of this witch's road, she can get whatever she wants, and yeah, that's pretty much it. She just, and I don't know, like, to me, sure, I'm sure like her getting what she wants is like maybe getting free of her mind spell, I'm assuming, that she's in. Or maybe she's not in it at the beginning of this, who knows? But I just don't feel like that is a strong enough premise for me to want to follow a villain from a show 3 years ago that I'm just not super hype about. It's not strong enough for me. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are, but
yeah. I mean, I was a lot more positive about the first trailer, than you. And this trailer, it didn't move the
needle,
the figurative, the metaphorical needle,
right?
But I think I'm a little less positive about it, but I don't want to like write it off because I'm beginning to get the sense that Aubrey Plaza's character is potentially more of like a villain.
Sure. Yeah, I'm getting that feeling too, that she's like a presence that's always going to be around, kind of tormenting them, kind of making them second guess themselves.
Yeah. And so like I'm in, which like to some degree, like this all feels very, and we can talk about it. But it all feels a bit Wizard of Oz, which is
which
is kind of like I don't know how to feel about it, because we do see like two of the characters, literally one being like the wicked witch of the West.
One being Melinda or whatever her name is.
Belinda,
yeah.
So like there's obviously some parallels there. I'm sure that there's going to be somebody at the end of the road. I'm hoping that it's not as predictable. Like I'm hoping that there's some sort of twist to it, which hopefully there would be, considering like Agatha was a big part of the whole twist in WandaVision. I would hope that there's a twist here.
Well, I'm a little shocked at what they threw in at the end of the trailer, which could be a twist per se if it wasn't shown, which it looked like a devil type character that could be Mephisto, like I was like, whoa, you're just showing that? Okay. Maybe that's trying to build a little hype for this show.
It's either trying to build some hype or it's to throw people off. Like I would not put it beneath, the MCU to just be like, here's the thing. The thing that you all started talking about as soon as WandaVision came out.
Yeah, is in the second trailer.
But and not even be in the show. Like, it's just like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like no, not this time.
It could just be a demon. I mean,
it literally could.
Yeah, right.
I do think that it's way more plausible at this point, though, for Mephisto to show up.
Sure. Agreed.
I think it makes sense because you're dealing with witches, because you're already dealing with like spells and
I feel like I would love to see, like her plan almost fail by the end, and her having to make a deal with Mephisto, which sets up like the next piece of story,
right?
Which I don't know what that would be, and I don't even know if I want another piece of story to like come off of this show. But I
want to at least it's gonna have a 2-episode premiere in September.
Yeah.
And it will begin in the spooky season. So like I appreciate the time that it's coming out.
Spooky season.
But although I never really wanted this show. Because it's not what I think, which granted, like this is a bit of a
well, yeah, you've said this before. Yeah, well, I agree with you.
Well, I was just gonna say that like it's funny that I say this because like the big criticism is like Marvel just does the same thing over and over. Mm-hmm. So like when they do something that's new,
yeah, now you're like, I don't want new.
But it's not that it's not that I don't want new. I do.
Right. But it's just you don't want a witch magic story in the MCU.
That's where it feels a bit strange.
Right.
But I'm gonna go into it, even though like the idea of this, and like I don't know, I don't want to say too much because there's been plenty of times that I watch trailers and I'm like, oh, the show was nothing like that. I don't want to put bad energy towards my opinion of it, but if I had to judge it based off of just what it's presenting to me, it could be fun. This road that they're going on, I would like to know, is this road in their mind? Is the road an actual road?
That's what I'm confused about, because the first trailer felt so much like she was still inside her own mind, right? But then this one feels like she's going around to all of the Westview residents and like recruiting them to be new witches, right? So I'm like, what is going on? I just have no idea. Which maybe and that credit to them, that's a good thing. Like I'm glad they're not showing us everything.
Well, here also, if we find out that in fact all of these Westview citizens are witches, and they were witches like back in WandaVision, would that be like, oh, that's cool? Like, of course, like maybe it would have been really hard for her to put up this whole act without the help of other people, or would it be like, oh, really? Like, would it diminish it for you?
I honestly, I feel like at least 2 of the like Westview residents are not going to have been witches before. I don't know. I mean, like I don't think it's necessary. I don't think I need more witches to have been there. Like we got a good story in WandaVision, and it was explained well by Agatha being there and manipulating things. I don't think I need more piled on top of it retroactively, Yeah,
I'm hoping that these are all like not like they're not witches.
Yeah, agreed.
Like Deborah and is it Deborah Jo Rupp?
I think so. Yeah. Who plays Kitty on that 70s show and that 90s show.
Do I need her to have retroactively been a witch? Right. No, I don't think I would have wanted that. But it's kind of funny, the idea of her becoming a witch.
Sure, it is funny, but no, I don't need it. But I haven't even gotten to the other stuff that like why I don't think this is going to be good. I mean, so the other 2 major things, multiple sets in this trailer look really cheap and really bad. Like the woods sets, it did not feel believable at all that we were in the woods. And then,
but again, that's what I'm curious. Like,
right.
Are
like,
we supposed to? Are we
is it
like?
not supposed? Is it supposed to feel like that on purpose? Right? Is what you're saying?
I don't know. Yeah.
And then the other thing was the song. It might have been multiple songs that were playing throughout the trailer.
The song
were really bad, like so bad. And I think that's really like our first taste of this musical aspect we're getting with the trailer. And I don't know if those are the types of songs that are in this. I'm not gonna last long with this show, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean, yes. If this. It wasn't a god awful song. It wasn't a good song. I agree. I'm really gonna hope that it's not like the same level throughout with all the songs, but right. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Well, I think we didn't get to see a leaked version of the next one, but the next topic or trailer or teaser, whatever you want to call it, from D23 we want to talk about is the stuff that was shown for Mandalorian Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool, like a logo that we were given.
Do you think the logo's cool?
Because I don't think I had looked at it as like an extension of the Mandalorian. I don't know why in my head, like, so the using the original logo and adding like a second like and Grogu. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
I have I don't know. I don't know if you want to go through the list, but or if we want to stay on like, give thoughts, but at least like for me with the logo, I think maybe it's less the logo and more the name. I don't like the name, to be completely honest. Like I think that
what would you want it to be? I mean, would you just want it to be the Mandalorian or
potentially, or I'd have to come up with a name, which I'm not going to do right now because, but I want like something about and Grogu. I don't know. Maybe it'll be fine, but like I can't think of like I don't know. Like, because maybe they're trying to do like a Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
I feel like they're trying to drive home the importance of like how big of an element and character that Grogu is going to be in this movie.
I know, but it's something about Grogu as a name that's like, like it's cute, but it, like as like a marquee like on the logo name
and Grogu,
it's.
right. Yeah.
Like I would have almost preferred Baby Yoda than Grogu. You know what I mean?
He's not Baby Yoda.
I know, but
it's funny. I'd actually heard in the past like casual fans of Star Wars be confused, like at everyone calling Baby Yoda, and that they thought like that was actually like a baby version of Yoda. Because everyone was calling him Baby Yoda.
Like what if you called it the Mandalorians? Because at this point, Grogu is a Mandalorian. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
What
the Mandalorians, right?
Why don't you call it like the
Mandalorian? I think that could give a different. Sorry, go on.
Well, sure. I know.
Yeah.
Or like the Mandalorian and the child. I don't know. Like the child is like
the child's a cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I don't know. Or like, anyways.
Or just give a name to the race finally.
Or what?
Or just give a name to the Yoda's race finally, Yeah. Just be like, and the baby whatever race.
And the whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't they put out Yoda's race? They put it out.
They've never titled. They never given it a name.
I swear to God. I thought they did years ago. Damn. Okay.
They really want to keep all that a mystery.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, so we got some interesting things I think happening in this trailer where I think the one that maybe is bothering me the most is the Razor Crest returning.
Yeah, I have questions about that.
Yeah, because like what was the whole point of giving us like that huge montage of remaking and building a new ship just for to last a season? Like we're just gonna get rid of the ship after a season. That's kind of rough. What I'm talking about. Like in Boba Fett, they built that new ship on Tatooine, and then he had it for all of season 3, and now we're just we like the Razor Crest better. Let's just go back to it.
I don't think that that's gonna be the case. I think that Naboo Starfighter will be in the movie. I don't think it'll just be the Razor Crest. I
like the Razor Crest better, don't get me wrong, but like there has to be some good continuity and reasons behind it.
I mean, it was destroyed.
It was completely blown up. It has to be a new one, right? Yeah.
I think like I don't know the history off the top of my head of like, right. Is the Razor Crest was that a one of a kind built sort of ship?
From all I know is that it was like pre-Empire.
So it's pre-Empire. So like maybe there's a bit couple rare of them. To get. Right. Maybe it's a bit rare. Maybe I don't know. He commissioned somebody to rebuild it, because it was really helpful with getting target. Like, here's the thing.
Also, being able to live in your ship and that's like it's huge, and he can't do that in his Naboo Starfighter.
No, but at this point, he's like living on that outpost, so it's not like he has to do that.
Right.
But if he's going to do like missions to like take down the Empire or. I don't know if he's still doing some bounty hunting stuff, but it seemed like a lot of it was like him going after the Empire.
I think it's pretty vague what he's going to be doing, like what he's doing now, right? I mean,
but you're going to need a ship to carry people, most likely. And so, considering that we see Zeb, which is cool,
yeah, and he's got some lines, which is pretty dope.
Zeb from Rebels.
Yep.
He almost seems like he's piloting the thing.
Yeah. So didn't expect him to be a part of that side of this universe.
I mean, I did a little bit. He's still living on that planet that Zeb's on.
Sure, but you would have to expect. Originally, we were going to see him in Ahsoka. I think that's where everyone thought he was going to appear next.
Yeah, but
it's all connected.
Since we didn't.
So. Right. I think it's fine. I think it's cool. Right.
I think it's cool. I think we're going to see a lot of. I think we're going to see Ezra. I think we're going to see. Obviously, we won't see Ahsoka and Sabine, but we're gonna. Which is. Never mind. Let's just go through what we saw. I don't want to. Yeah.
So we saw some footage of the Mandalorian infiltrating a base of stormtroopers, which sounds pretty dope. And then it ends with him going to a hill in one of the like AT-AT walkers, I'm assuming, and with Grogu, and they come into contact with two other AT-ATs.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, like it's a snowy planet, so it was like snow trooper,
so kind of Hothy. Yeah,
who knows if it is Hoth, but
that'd be really dope. To be honest, I don't think we've ever been back to Hoth since episode 5. So
no, but would it be cool?
Because you're really making the universe small again.
Well, just like it's like, look, it would be. I think it would be neat, but I don't like. I'm like, let's go yes, there's another snow planet. Doesn't have to be hot, but it can.
No,
be
it doesn't have to be.
It's just I'm a little annoyed that's like we have Coruscant, we have Tatooine, and where else would they? I don't know if they go anywhere else regularly, but it's just like, do we have to go to Hoth? I don't know if we have to keep going to Hoth.
Sure. Yeah, it could also be that snowy planet that we went to in Jedi Fallen Order, where the kyber crystals are. I don't remember what that planet is, but
yes,
yeah, I love that one.
Yeah,
so I'd love to see some kyber crystals. That'd be cool. But probably they're all gone, I'm sure, because the Empire kind of stole all those. But who knows? But yeah, we got to see the Babu Frick race as well at the end of this trailer.
I think
because they were in the season 3, so
yes, and I don't know if it's the race or if it is legitly the Babu Freak is at the end.
I feel there's multiples of them. There's like multiple Babu. So I think it's
but
I think it's just the race that I think it's literally the ones we saw in season 3.
That's might my be. Guess. All I'm saying is from the reports that I was seeing, they said Babu Freak, and I'm like, is it the race or is it the guy?
If it's really him, that's so stupid. He's not that important of a character for us to like give him an origin 30 years before we see him. Like, I don't know. It's dumb as hell. But yeah, that's about what we got to see or got to hear about The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's coming out May 2026. Is that what I'm hearing? Or yeah. So
also, they just started filming, so
wow, they're giving themselves some time.
Yeah,
good for them. Okay,
but it is crazy. Like I'm like, okay, a Star Wars movie
has a real release date and is already filming. Like that's shocking. I don't think we've gotten this far in a long time. Yeah.
By the way, guess who did not come out on stage for any of the
Pedro Pascal?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh,
no. Who?
Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, she upsets a lot of Star Wars fans, so maybe it was best.
But you're the head of the studio, and you're not coming out.
Did Dave Filoni come out?
I think he did, yeah.
So, I mean, from what I hear now is that, like, he's like the co-head with Kathleen Kennedy. So
yes.
it can make sense for only one of them to appear. You know?
No, it doesn't have. You
don't need to have both.
But you said co, and like she's still the head of Lucasfilm, like at the D23 Expo. So all I'm saying is I don't know if Kathleen Kennedy is going to be around next year.
That's great.
Look, I have a lot of problems with her.
Yeah.
And I do think that she should leave.
Yes.
I do.
Yep.
But
because she's made bad moves outside of Star Wars as well, you know.
Like what?
Like Indiana Jones.
Yes, I think I don't think she's good as a studio head. I think she's better as a producer.
Right.
But anyways, all I want to say is I don't think she's going to be around. I don't shit on everything that she does because I think she's done a lot of cool things too. But yes, I think it's interesting.
She's made a lot of mistakes.
I think it's interesting that she's not there.
Yeah, very interesting. I didn't know that. It's we'll keep an eye on that for sure. But yeah, the other Star Wars show that was shown off was Andor season 2. I got to see a little bit of this. This was more of a making of and kind of behind the scenes, but you got to see some actual scenes from season 2. But the coolest parts of that teaser was that we have 3 returning characters from Rogue One. First being Ben Mendelsohn as Director Krennic, second being Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera, and the third being Alan Tudyk, who is voicing K2SO, which was the droid in Rogue One.
Right.
So that's really cool. I mean, I think it makes sense because they confirmed that every 3 episodes will be a year jump down the line of Cassian's kind of life. And
apparently the last 3 episodes
will lead right into Rogue One.
Yeah, it's like right where we pick up with him when he's killing that dude.
Yeah. So
at the beginning of the movie.
I think and I still haven't finished Andor. So this will be a priority for me at this point because now there's real like shit coming out for season 2 now. But I already love watching Rogue One and then episode 4 back to back. I can't imagine like now also having a great lead up into Rogue One with Andor. Like that sounds amazing. So maybe in the future I'll have to like kind of do all 3 in a row. And I
mean that's gonna take a long time.
Sure. I think you would. I think it'd be like 24 episodes total for Andor.
I think so, yeah.
So you would probably watch like Andor over like a couple weeks, and then like right after that you jump right into to the next 2 movies.
Right.
Yeah. So
this is releasing in 2025. Hopefully it's in the winter or the spring. Hopefully I don't have to wait till the fall.
I think you're at the most you'll have to wait until June, honestly. I hope. Yeah, I like from what I hear it was like they were trying to push for a 2024 release, but it just wasn't going to happen. So I don't think you'll have to wait another year from like the original release date, you know?
Yeah.
But we didn't get much more than those details.
No, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
I love Ben Mendelsohn's Director Krennic.
He's great. Yeah.
Saw Gerrera, not like, I know a lot of people like him. He's cool. Yeah. He's not.
I think he's a good presence when like in anything he's been in for Star Wars. I don't think he's an amazing character, but I like him as like this resistance head. You know?
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And seeing K2SO is going to be cool.
Yes, I love Alan Tudyk.
I'm excited. If you haven't seen Andor season 1, you should. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. Probably one of the best things that Star Wars has done since the original trilogy. And anyways, the unless you have anything else to say, we can.
That's it.
So the next, the last, I guess we should say, Star Wars trailer or presentation that we're going to talk about is Star Wars the Skeleton Crew trailer. Mm-hmm. And we got
this was a cool trailer. I like this one, to be honest.
I mean, I saw the poster. I was like, it's a
poster. Right?
It's a poster. I mean, like, some people were like, oh, it's a great poster. I'm like, I mean, it looks like every other Star Wars poster where it's like, we're gonna have silhouettes of the characters in the background, and then this big open landscape, not landscape, but like big portrait of like whatever planet they're on, and the sun's gonna be obscuring almost everything, and I'm like, whatever. But the trailer, I thought the Ahsoka trailer looked great. I thought the Obi-Wan trailer looked great. I have thought that most trailers have looked great.
And like I say, like Disney, like almost 99% of the time kills a trailer. Like they know how to build hype.
But the one thing, well, two things, maybe three things that give me a little bit of hope about this is John Watts, who did the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy, is in charge of this. Mm-hmm. I already like the premise more than the majority of the shows that have come out, which is this kind of Goonies-like, Stand By Me, sort of like ETS, like all these kids are all like a group of kids. They go on this adventure. Right. You kind of already like have me like, liking that already, because that's already such a like a great, as long as the kids are like mesh well together and like have
and they
chemistry.
Felt like they did in the trailer. And I think like you said it first, is that like they are pulling inspiration from the Goonies, and even though they're doing that, it feels so fresh for Star Wars because we've never focused on kids before in Star Wars.
No,
like except for Leia and Obi-Wan. But other than that, I mean, and it's not like Leia was truly a main character in Obi-Wan, so I think it's really exciting. I think I would have set it up a little differently, maybe than it's set up right now. Because basically in the trailer, we start off with them on a very safe and Earth-like planet. Like they're going to school, they live in a neighborhood. It feels very American Earth-like in a sense. And they're always like pretending and longing for an adventure, and they stumble on a ship and it just light speeds them out into space, and they're lost. Yeah. I probably would have liked it more if it was like they were on a planet and they were like struggling to survive and make it there, and they saw an out and took it. Maybe they wouldn't be lost, like literally lost at that point, but I don't know. I think to me, it gives it a little more like excitement stakes in that sense. But
I hear you.
Yeah.
But I like this because this is the way that it, it's a tried and true sort of way of like Stranger Things. The kids are at school. This exciting thing happens to them. Right, Same thing with the Goonies. Like they're at their house, and the house is going to get, I mean, they're still like living normal life, and then they have to go out on this adventure to save the house or whatever. Right. But I think it I think the stakes would obviously be to get back home.
Sure. So the stakes like, now is like
they see
away
some
from
like
their parents.
Crazy, maybe pirates, maybe who knows, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool visuals. Like they go to different planets and like are in an asteroid field, and we see 2 X-wings go by at some point. So maybe we'll see some of the like space office or the like New Republic officers that we saw in The Mandalorian.
But also like the third thing that makes me really excited about this is, and I know I shouldn't just rely on an actor, but I really love Jude Law.
He's pretty great. Yeah.
So to see him as what we're most likely guessing is a Jedi. At the end of the trailer, which I even like that, like he's pulling like an old fashioned key off of, like it gave like old Goonies kind of vibes or Hook.
Now
vibes.
I do love in a sense the addition of like a Jedi adult character to this group who maybe you can't trust, maybe you can. If he turns out to be a Jedi though, again, I maybe don't love that because you're also trying to explain where the hell was this guy in the original trilogy, you know, like.
But they've done that, like.
I know, but you keep adding more characters that like were even around in the original trilogy, and you're just like how can you explain that? Like they still haven't explained it with Ahsoka, which is frustrating for me. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean,
right. Like, why didn't you all help? It's, you know? I don't know.
In to me, like, without like getting fully off topic. Yeah. I mean, it the whole, even having Ahsoka around kind of diminishes Luke in the first place. Like,
right. Because
having any Jedi around is like, he's supposed to be the last one, you know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's what it felt like in the original trilogy. That they're like that Yoda was technically the last of the Jedi until he died,
and then it was Luke, Leia.
Right. Sure, yeah, right.
So two, but
yeah, Leia didn't become Force, you know, like use her Force abilities until after the trilogy. So it really was just one.
So I mean, it feels like at this point, Lucasfilm is just like,
whatever. We like Jedis.
we like Jedi. We don't really want to have to wait. You know, X amount of years till like they're, you know, at this age, and because then we're going into the sequel territory. So we'll just say that. Oh well, I don't know if this is a good excuse, but he does seem locked up.
Sure.
Maybe he was in prison this whole time.
I think. Well, yeah. If he can just get a key like that, I don't know. I don't think he's been in prison this whole time.
Well,
I think what's more likely
much from that.
Sure, but I think what's more likely is that he's not actually a Jedi, and the kids are just assuming it, and he's playing into it. I think that's maybe more likely. But maybe Disney is going the opposite way and not being clever, and I don't know. But I think overall, this is a really great premise, a really great trailer.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hyped for it. So. But that, unless you wanted to say more about it, is everything Star Wars from D23 we wanted to talk about. Next up, I don't know if you got to see the teaser for this, but there was a leaked...
saw the still of the image.
Yeah, it was an interesting teaser trailer. Basically, I said Ironheart, right? I said it. No, I didn't say it. Okay, so yeah, we're talking about Ironheart.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to talk about Red Hulk because that was the next thing on our.
Oh, my bad. Whoops. Well, I didn't get to see. Okay, so yeah, we can talk about Red Hulk first.
I mean, it's just an image.
Yeah,
that I saw.
But so basically, there is a video, but it's only of him kind of like, and he's not transitioning, but it's like the first, like he is building up into the Hulk, and like you clearly see his face, and he's moving around, and I'm very pleasantly surprised with how good he looks. Like, it still looks a bit like Harrison Ford, but it doesn't look stupid, you know? Like,
right.
I really thought it was going to be so goofy having an old Harrison Ford face on Red Hulk.
I mean,
but it didn't look old, you know? Like, it's like he was like a younger animated red Harrison Ford almost.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I don't know. Like, I have faith. I mean, they've had almost 2 decades. Well, what was it? No, I mean, they've had like a little over a decade worth of visual effects to grow off of, to pull off of with like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, and then on top of like all the stuff they did with Thanos, like, albeit I'm sure that the visual effects with Thanos was like way more extensive, but considering that like all of that is most likely in data drives that like now they can even pull off of like even more to map to Harrison Ford, like I didn't really have too many doubts that it was going to look good. And also considering that they're not overloading all the visual effects artists like they were beforehand. To the best of my knowledge. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think that
things are better than they were in the past few years.
Yeah, because that was that's why She-Hulk, besides other things, She-Hulk is kind of hard to pull off because
it's entirely
like the facial hair on Hulk kind of helps make him look like has features that don't make his skin look so
like CG,
like CG and like plain, so it like gives like a weird effect. But it's kind of hard with like there's no facial hair, so it's like how do you put the wrinkles and whatnot? But anyways, I think he looks great.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm a little surprised they showed that. I feel like that could have been cool to wait till the actual movie, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not huge. It's not huge, but because I don't know. I wouldn't have mind.
We already saw him like drop the shield in the logo. We literally see.
It was just that was like the last thing, you know, like that they could have shown for Red Hulk. For Red Hulk is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm completely fine with seeing him. I think it's a good like drawing point. And if anything, one of the things that I would be, they might not save it, but if they would save what the leader looks like, would be cool.
That would be cool. I'd like to just wait for the movie for that to drop. Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see. Well, yeah. So we got 2 more MCU things we wanted to discuss from D23. The first being the Ironheart teaser. I don't know if you got to see this though.
I did.
Okay, so this was a pretty decent trailer. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah.
But basically, this trailer starts off where she's still in Wakanda and Shuri's speaking to her, and basically, you know, Shuri's like, "I'm sorry, but I can't let you keep the suit, even though it's amazing." And so she goes back to New York. And she is in trouble for missing a lot of time because she was in Wakanda, and she gets expelled from MIT. And so it seems like she's out of money. Well, clearly she's out of money and wants to build a new suit. So it looks like she teams up with what's probably the bad guy of this story, this TV show, and he helps her build the new suit. We get a ton of like flying around and a couple suit up moments with the suit. Looks pretty good. Yeah, and that's really about it from the trailer. I would say it has a more serious tone, I think, than I was expecting. I think because it's a younger character, I was expecting maybe a more like lighthearted Miss Marvel tone. But I definitely don't mind the MCU when it takes itself seriously. And maybe that's a better route to take this character. I don't know.
I am torn about this trailer because part of it is very interesting, seeing like Riri joining forces and doing some
kind of rogue stuff.
Yeah, rogue, but like is committing crime in a way.
Yeah.
And the new suit is cool.
It's good. Yeah.
It's cool. I still don't like. I wasn't I wasn't crazy about Ironheart in Wakanda Forever.
She was fine. Right.
She was fine. I don't know. Part of it, like I like the like adversity of like getting kicked out of MIT, being super intelligent, needing to build this suit again for some reason, which I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out why. Maybe it's like this is what I've been I'm assuming this is my life's work. I don't know what because we do live in a world of like Iron Man suits, so I don't know what this suit is doing that would be like adding to the world in terms of like technology, but maybe we'll find out.
I almost feel like there isn't new technology there, but I could be wrong. You know, I feel like there needs to be though.
But I mean, part of it does look nice. Mm-hmm. I do appreciate that like the tone is a bit more serious. Mm-hmm. I really like Anthony Ramos, who is the guy.
Oh, is that who's playing the villain?
Yeah, and I think we all kind of think he's playing the Hood, which is a villain I know very little about.
I don't think I've heard the Hood.
He's kind of like more of like a minor villain, which kind of makes sense.
Like more of a newer Ironheart villain or what?
No, I think he's been around.
Okay.
2002, which I think
Ironheart was like 2013 or something.
So like he's been around for a bit.
Right.
I don't know that much about him. Maybe he's got some mystical abilities. Maybe he's just like a guy with two guns and a hood. I don't know that much about him, but I like Anthony Ramos. I think he's a really good actor, and I'm sure he will be a good villain. You know, heavy to her.
Could be
to her. I don't know, but it looks. The suit stuff looks cool. Mm-hmm. Shuri apparently is going to show up in it, which kind of makes sense.
Which I mean, at the beginning we saw her, you know, so I think she would just be in the very beginning. I don't think we're going to see her besides that.
She might show up at the end.
Yeah, okay, I could see that too. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Ryan Coogler is like an exec producer on this, so he's pretty involved. I could definitely see it.
But overall, like, I still don't know how I feel about this show, but I hope it's good.
Yeah. So I hope it's good too. I don't have a ton of faith, but I know this show's coming out next year as well. I don't think we have a release date besides 2025. So we will update you all when we know more as well. But yeah, we also got a couple of photos from Fantastic Four. I don't know if they showed a new trailer per se, but
no, it was the same old one.
Okay, so we got to see a new photo of the 4 Fantastic Four members, and we got to see Johnny in his outfit for the Fantastic Four. So, I thought the suit looked pretty good. It's a little like thin, I think. You know, I don't know if there's a lot of protection there, but
well, here's the thing.
Yeah,
you obviously see unless they're like, I don't know what they're doing for the VFX, but unless they are just letting the actor who plays the Thing just like, you know, play without the motion capture dots and whatnot, it seems like this is them. If this is a shot in the movie, this seems like them before they have powers.
I would agree. Yeah.
And I would imagine that suit that they have on is
like the underneath of the spacesuit they use, or what?
Or just like underneath the spacesuit. But I don't know if that is going to be the suit. I think that's like the precursor. Like, hey, we're like,
I hope so.
You know, like we're these like really famous individuals, or like, you know, and we're the Fantastic Four, so you have to make like a brand out of it, and it's all like kind of futuristic and. But at the same time, like retro and kind of fun and quirky. So
I can see that.
I don't know if that's the suit. If it is the suit, I don't think it's a bad suit. I think I need to see it in action. Right. But it's not what I was expecting at all. Yeah, that's for sure.
Definitely not. But I think it is close to what we saw retro. in the like the original drawing. It does have like the same kind of style at points.
So if it is the suit, I think it still will look cool, and it's giving like, I don't think that this will be the suit that stays throughout.
Agreed,
I think this will be like a suit, even if it is
shows
the
up
suit
just
for
early
the
on.
movie.
Right.
It'll be the same way that like Captain America has a new suit once he gets into the future.
Right, the military. Yeah. So the other thing you wrote down, I didn't get to see, but you wrote that WandaVision's Westview was on set for Fantastic Four. So like they're using the town, or
this is not D23. This is apparently like an aerial shot that somebody took of on set of the Fantastic Four, and apparently Westview market is there.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I just thought I'd bring that up. I don't know how that fits into.
They're gonna show a retro Westview, like a very different kind of Westview.
It could just be like a callback. Like it could just be like a nice little Easter egg. Like we're going to Westview in New Jersey. There's a thing that's happened there.
I can't see how Westview could play a major part in the story. So
it might
it's just a cool little.
Yeah. It's like, there's a WandaVision. So
right. Yeah, I can see that. Well, then I think that's all in the Fantastic Four we wanted to talk about, because there really wasn't much there.
So for the last two things that we're going to talk about for D23, they showed a bunch of stuff from Disney and Pixar. Gonna be honest, like I don't really care that much about a live action Snow White, even though I do think it's kind of cool seeing Gal Gadot as like the evil queen. That's kind of neat. Don't really care about Mufasa. Sorry. And but I did like seeing the live action Stitch.
I mean, I'm still incredibly worried about it, but it's they basically just showed like Stitch popping out of like the title.
Yeah.
And he sounds good. He looks good. I think that's all you can really ask for at this point.
Yeah. But it doesn't look. It looks good. Like it looks like how I would want to see probably like a live action Stitch. Like I agree. It really does.
I can't ask for anything
good.
Better. Yeah.
Not like some weird talking crab Sebastian or talking fish. Like I
agreed.
So
there's real like personality and emotion behind it.
It feels like Stitch. It looks like Stitch.
Sounds like Stitch.
I'm happy with what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
We'll see how it looks. When the movie comes out in next summer. And then the biggest news out of Pixar for me was that, because this was not previously announced, was that Incredibles 3 is now in production.
Yeah. There had been some rumblings that it could happen behind the scenes. But I don't know if I was expecting this one, to be honest.
I was not expecting it.
Yeah.
Especially also because this is like Pete Docter's who runs Pixar. Like this is his like baby. Like he loves The Incredibles.
But I don't know if he's got much of a choice when the studio heads come and say we want more sequels.
Expect sequels to like surefire like hits.
Right.
And like I love the first Incredibles. Incredibles 2, I saw one time. I thought it was good.
I liked Incredibles 2, to be honest. I know it's not nearly as good as the first one. But I do feel like it gets a lot of hate. Like Incredibles 2 gets a lot of hate online. So I don't know. I don't know if this was maybe the smartest of choices. I don't know if people are going to be as hype as they were for Incredibles 2 before they saw it. But
probably not. But I was asking Ian, like I can't even remember what happened at the end of Incredibles 2, and then he reminded me that that pretty much like superheroes are now legal again, which I'm curious if they're obviously it'll probably take place in a world where there's a bunch of superheroes again. That'll be kind of neat to see. But do we still stick with the kids being
I hope
kids,
not, man.
Or do we have them grow up?
I think that's what we all wanted when we heard about Incredibles 2, was that we were hoping like for a Toy Story 2 to 3 time jump where you bring us into a new part of their lives, and we see how they deal with it. And I think it would have been really exciting to focus on Violet and Dash and Jack as like adult superhero, or maybe teenage superheroes. I think that would have been really interesting. But we didn't get, we got a literal direct follow-up in the first sequel. So hopefully they realize the cool opportunity they have and can actually do something with a time jump.
I agree, but the only thing that I worry about is they're such like iconic characters at this point that.
So you're like, to change them would be maybe a bad move.
Like, there is a reason why Stewie from Family Guy has never aged. Like, there is a reason why the characters in American Dad and like Rick and Morty, like, there's a reason that they don't.
Sure, but would you look at them as a sitcom? You know,
do I see The Incredibles as a sitcom?
Right.
No,
I mean,
no, but I'm saying like they are the, like, as animated characters, they are how they that's how they look, you know, like that's how we know them as. To age them up, well, almost inevitably means that their personalities change, their voices change, their appearance has changed. It's different than like in Monsters Inc. and then Monsters University, where like, yeah, they're in college, but like relatively,
they're pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same,
and they have the same voice actors, right?
So you can't. I don't actually know if they will age them up, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I feel like they won't.
It's like the same thing. It's like, would you, like, there's a reason why like Toy Story 2 didn't end with Woody being like, well, now I have no arm. You know, it's like, like it would be weird. It would be strange.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can only hope, but I agree. Your reasons make sense. I don't think they'll do it.
I think it'll be cool.
Yeah.
If they do.
Yeah.
It would be ballsy, and I would like to see like Mr. and Mrs. Incredible, like
older. Yeah.
Older.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool, right?
That'd be kind of cool.
But yeah, we got just a logo for this. I mean, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
So we are purely speculating, and we don't know a release date. So yeah, well, I guess we'll keep an eye out for this one as well. Don't know if I should be excited about this one, to be honest. So
yeah,
we will see.
Yeah.
Well, that is, I think, everything from D23 that we wanted to talk about. So next we want to talk about the updated Marvel slate that was kind of released before D23. They, in short, ended up taking one of their dates off of their 2026, I think, timeline, and added another one to 2027, from what I hear. So now there's, for next year, we have 4 movies scheduled, which is Captain America: Brave New World, then Thunderbolts, then Fantastic Four, and then Blade. And then 2026, we have an unannounced film, then Avengers Doomsday, then another unannounced film. And then 2027, we have Secret Wars, and then 2 unannounced films after that. So I guess I kind of want to discuss with you like what you thought these unannounced films are, because for the most part, everything that was announced in Phase 4 and 5 and 6 from like before Phase 4 even started has come out at this point. You know, we're really just waiting on Fantastic Four and the Avengers movies. So, yeah, what are your thoughts?
So, let's be clear. There are 3 movies coming out next year.
You don't think Blade's coming out next year?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is, first of all, the movie that is coming out in July, which is only
now filming, right?
Which is just now filming, which would be coming out in July. So if Blade even wants to get to the November release date, they have to start filming at least in the next 2 to 3 months.
Right.
Which is not happening. So Blade Blade is either not happening or it is moving to one of these release dates, which could be
honestly, I think could be good. Like, I think a Blade movie in between Doomsday and Secret Wars could be dope.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would if I was to replace one of the picks that I have, I would put it there. That's where I would put it.
Right.
Because I don't think he's going to show up in Avengers Doomsday. I don't see where that would necessarily fit in. But considering that, my list, which is kind of, some of them can be kind of interchangeable, but the way I was thinking about it is February 13th. We haven't seen Destin Daniel Cretton has he was originally attached to Avengers 5, but he's still working on Shang-Chi 2. Right. And there's been a lot of rumblings about like maybe him and Iron Fist, and it seems like it's still happening. And we haven't seen Shang-Chi since 2021. So assuming he's going to be a part of the Avengers, which I can't imagine that he's not going to be, and we don't really know what's going on with him since 2021. I think it's high. Right. I think it's a high, and also it was a great movie, and a lot of people like it. I think we have a high likelihood of seeing him in that February 13th, 2026 spot.
Agreed.
The one in November 6th after Doomsday, if it's not Blade, I thought about this, and as much as I think it would be important, like as much as as big of a character as Doctor Strange is, if he doesn't come out in, you could also do Doctor Strange in a February 13th spot before Doomsday. But, But this is my thinking.
Right.
He doesn't need to be in Doomsday. The last we saw of him, he went to another dimension,
a different universe, right? Yeah,
with Clea, and it's like we know nothing about Clea at this point. We know nothing about Charlize Theron's character. So for him to just pop up out of nowhere, I'm sure people could do it. I'm sure that you could write a script around it. But considering he's dealing with incursions, I don't think it has a lot to do with whatever's probably happening in Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense in the same way that like Ant-Man and the Wasp, even though like that was just like a refresher, like, oh, this is a fun little movie. At the end, you kind of saw what happened, and then it set up Ant-Man as being stuck in the quantum realm.
Right.
Not that I think it would be the same, but it would make more sense to learn more about incursions and whatnot in Doctor Strange 3.
That's a good idea.
So put him in that November 6th spot, and then you go into Secret Wars. So you already know what's going on with Doctor Strange. You set him up as like, you find out where he is at the end of that. And and obviously, or most likely leads into the events of Secret Wars, and it'll be like, kind of like hype, or like we can speculate on what that's going to be, kind of the same way that we did with Ant-Man.
Right.
After Secret Wars, the July spot, because I don't think that you can have Doctor Strange 3 definitely has to happen so it's either going to happen on February 13th of 2026 or November of 2026. I don't think it can happen after Avengers Secret Wars. I think it'd be weird, right? But it could. I mean, like,
it really could.
It could. I just, it could do the whole Guardians of the Galaxy thing. Yeah. But I would prefer, but that wasn't planned. That was, they didn't want, that's not how they originally they were going to do that, right?
Right.
So, I know for a fact that I think that the November spot in 2027 is X-Men.
You think so? Okay.
Yes. I think that's when you put it out. For July, I'm torn.
It's so funny how our lists are pretty different, to be honest.
But for July, I think that July could be Spider-Man 4.
Yeah. And
if it's not Spider-Man, then I would swap out the two. But I'm a little hesitant about X-Men too, because like I think they'd want to keep that under wraps for a bit. So I don't even know if X-Men would be in like November 5th.
Right.
It could be into 2028. Because I think, after Secret Wars, there'll be X-Men. But I'm going to say X-Men because maybe something happens. But Spider-Man 4 definitely happening in 2027.
Okay. Interesting. So you have it as February 13th as Shang-Chi. Is that what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have November 6th as Doctor Strange.
Yes.
And then July 23rd is X-Men.
No, it's Spider-Man.
Okay, July 23rd is Spider-Man, and then wow, yeah, our lists are a little different. Not crazy different. I will say I don't have X-Men or Doctor Strange 3 in my list.
That's crazy.
I think you're also forgetting about a movie that they are heavily planning in Armor Wars. And I think Armor Wars has to come before Doomsday. So that is my pick for what would be February 13th.
I don't know if it has to.
I just don't. I don't know if people would care after Secret Wars and Doomsday. Like I don't know. I mean, sure, you can go back to small scale, but I feel like you have to like almost be looking towards other parts of the franchise, like after Secret Wars. Like I don't know if we could just go back to like Justin Hammer and the Armor Wars, and maybe Riri Williams is in it,
but it's not just Justin Hammer. It's also
and Warhammer, yeah, War Machine, or right.
It's also daughter of love interest that turned out to be the power broker in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah,
like she's a big part of that.
Yeah, I can't remember, but she's Peggy Carter's like niece or like I think grandniece or something. Yeah. Sure. There's a lot going on there, but I just feel like that should come before the grand multiversal conclusion. That's just my opinion on that.
Okay, I know they're working on it. If it was to happen before 2027, I would. Yes.
Yeah.
Probably February 13th. I would guess. Yes.
Yeah. So I would also say that I think Shang-Chi 2 is due. And I think I would put it between the two Avengers movies. I think that could be a cool, like you said, you could do something like Ant-Man 2 where it's somewhat of a prequel to the first Avengers movie, even though it's taking place or it's coming out after it.
Right.
So I think that could be a cool little bridge movie. And I don't know, but I do feel like a Spider-Man 4 should also come before the Avengers movies. So we know what's going on in his life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know, but there's just not enough. There's not enough movies that can come before the Avengers,
If there was, because we don't know the script, but
yeah,
a lot of these are the movies that I think are going to happen. Maybe
right.
I did kind of forget Armor Wars, but if I had to interchange Spider-Man with anything, I would put it, I would probably put it in the February 3rd. Well, I don't know. I guess I'd put it in the February 13th or the November 6th. It's kind of interchangeable with those two. But I know Spider-Man No Way Home was like in the winter. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like that's a movie like Spider-Man 4 is like another movie that you'd want to like put out in the summer. So that's why I mainly like, put it
July
there.
Is right. Yeah, I get it. I do get it. It's just, man, it feels hard to come back to Spider-Man after he's been in 2 Avengers movies, you know? And I get we did that with No Way Home. Actually, we did that with Far From Home, actually. Yeah. So maybe that's, you know what? Maybe that's a good, I'll give you, I'm going to put Spider-Man 4 at the July 23rd. I'm going to agree with you there. I think Shang-Chi 2 is going to be between the Avengers movies. And I think November 5th would be Thor 5 is what I'm going to say. I know we don't really need a Thor 5, but I think it's going to happen. I think they have higher priority of that over Doctor Strange 3 because I believe you can pick up. I think you can pick up like Doctor Strange's storyline with where he's with Clea at the beginning of Doomsday. Like I think you could fit that into Avengers. And I know
you could.
I think they're also trying to do something with Young Avengers. I believe they're going to put that as well into Avengers Doomsday, the formation of the Young Avengers. I don't know if it gets its own movie in 2026 or 2027, you know? So
if Young Avengers was to happen, it would be a Disney Plus movie, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't think that it's...
You don't think it has a mass appeal?
Well, it's more of like you want to save the Avengers title.
Yeah.
For big events. And I don't know if putting like Young Avengers is like the best idea.
I feel you.
Like maybe as a Disney Plus movie. Sure.
Yeah. Or like, you know, one of those special presentations they do.
Yeah.
They did a couple of years ago.
Or like a Young Avengers TV show.
Yeah, I'd want it to have a better budget than a TV show, though, to be honest.
But can you say that when these budgets for these TV shows are like
are pretty high? Yeah,
high?
I agree. I guess I just want a little more quality for the Young Avengers,
right?
But, yeah, but yeah, I think we have some pretty different picks. I don't know. I just feel like they have so many things they can do and want to do in the next 3 years, and they don't have, you know, 4 movies coming out every year now to fit it all in.
All right. So here's considering what Bob Iger said about wanting to have hits. Right. I agree. Thor 5, as much as Thor Love and Thunder was like not greatly received.
Right.
There were still a lot of people who liked it. And it still made like 700 million, I believe. It is probably on its way. I agree.
But I don't disagree with you about Doctor Strange because that also made a lot of money.
That made so much money.
I think it made like 800 million or something. The second one.
Might have made more than that.
I mean, it definitely didn't cross $1 billion. I know that. But I had a crazy opening weekend and then like fell off pretty harsh after that. I think it had like a 70% like decline in the next weekend or something.
Let's see, gross. It made 955 million.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's a priority for them as well. Yeah.
And then how much did Shang-Chi gross?
Shang-Chi, I think, made 800, 900, somewhere around there, I think. Could have been more, to be honest.
Actually, might not have been that much.
Really?
Worldwide.
I remember it being a pretty big hit.
Yeah, so now, granted, it was big. It was a big movie. You have to factor in when it came out.
Yeah, sure. It was, we were coming out of the pandemic, right?
We are just beginning to come out of the pandemic.
Right.
So 432, which was which was big.
Sure, but it's not what they needed from that movie, I'm sure.
But it was still big.
And we know they're planning to do a second one, so
yeah. How much did Thor: Love and Thunder
Sorry, we're just doing some research live on the
worldwide gross? I'm just curious. 760 million. Yeah. So I mean, it's
those movies that makes upwards of 700 mil. I think you're guaranteed to get a sequel to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think Doctor Strange 3 will come. I don't know if it's that important in the story at the moment to squeeze it in the next 3 years. You know?
I think it is.
But
I absolutely think it is.
I feel like you can tell the story that you need to tell with Doctor Strange within the Avengers movies, and then he can get his own story afterwards.
I agree.
Right.
I agree. But it could go either way. To me, it could go either way. You could be like, oh my God, guys, me and Cleo are just learning all about incursions and blah, and this is what's going to happen. You know, like, I agree. You could do it that way.
I don't hate where you have it in between the Avengers movies. I think that's a good spot. But I just feel like Shang-Chi is due more, and I think Spider-Man is maybe due more. And and Armor Wars is obviously pretty important and coming soon, I think. So that's just kind of where my head's at with these.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're super far off.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that is, I think, finally all of the Disney topics that we wanted to cover today. So you don't have to hear any more of that. But we also wanted to talk about a trailer that came out with this last week for Jason Reitman's Saturday Night. We talked a little bit about that in the beginning. But this is starring, I'll just say the full cast list that I know. So Gabrielle LaBelle as Lorne Michaels, Dylan O'Brien as Dan Aykroyd, Corey Michael Smith as Chevy Chase, Lamorne Morris as Garrett Morris, Rachel Snow as Rosie Schuster, Ella Hunt as Gilda Radner, and Matt Wood as John Belushi. And this is coming out, I think, October 11th. And it covers the first night ever for Saturday Night Live and how the show came about.
Technically, the last 90 minutes before they go on air, apparently.
Oh, okay. So they don't actually show the show that they're building up to in the movie. Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't know, but I know that it centers around like that last hour and a half before they go live.
That's really interesting. I would have expected it was like the day or the week leading up. But I'm down for that. You can, I mean, in the trailer, you can literally feel like the talk is like the clock is like racing, like towards, their annihilation almost.
Yeah.
But I think it's a pretty cool, I guess I'd say it's really cool visually to see what Saturday Night Live looked like in back then in this movie. I think they've casted pretty well. Like, I think the actor who's playing Chevy Chase looks really, really close. I think
sounds really close too.
I know some people are a little critical of who's playing John Belushi. I think he looks great as John Belushi, to be honest. And I'm a huge John Belushi fan. And bless you.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't know. I think, and I love that. What is it? Nicholas Braun is playing Jim Henson. Like, he looks ridiculous, but like great at the same time.
And I just love him talking about somebody hanged Big Bird. Crazy. And also the guy who plays Chevy Chase, like him just
the line he has is amazing.
The line he says about like, sorry, I just tripped on my penis.
Yeah.
Like, that great.
Very Chevy Chase. Yep.
Very Chevy Chase.
Yep.
I think the Gabriel LaBelle, who's playing Lorne Michaels, he's great.
I like him. Yeah.
He sounds great.
Agreed.
And I like the way, first of all, it's shot really it's shot like a drama, which this is.
It is.
But it's shot like, don't know how to describe it other than just like it's very captivating. You feel the drama, but it also still feels a little light. You definitely get the sense that like NBC's like, there's some tension between the studio and then wanting to put on this show. And, he's saying like NBC should be lucky that they have something so relevant and like this counterculture show. But
I love like the talk too in this trailer of like them realizing they've been set up to fail, where, they're like, you've been given this horrible time slot on Saturday night, with a bunch of like, no ones basically. And they're counting on you not to succeed. So I love that. I guess the stakes are kind of right there, is that everyone, like, their backs against the wall, everyone's against them. And the only thing they can do is succeed. And I don't know. I love those kind of stories. I'm excited for it.
And I like the drama and the I like the fact that it is supposedly the last 90 minutes before they go on air. Like, that's more of like a compelling sort of like fingernail biting, like rush sort of, I guess. Like, and it's more of an interesting story to tell, as opposed to like the whole day or the first week.
I feel like we could see though, like during those 90 minutes, like we get like flashbacks to like earlier in like the year or like the week or something.
I could see that.
Just so we can have a little more context. Because I feel like it's crazy that there's that much story to tell just within the last 90 minutes before the show airs.
Right.
Like, it almost doesn't seem possible that there's that much drama, but we'll see. And I'm excited to see everyone act as the actors they're portraying. And I think I'm most curious about how Dan Aykroyd's going to be, because he doesn't look or like really feel like Dan Aykroyd to me at the moment.
And I mean, like, Dylan O'Brien's like, he's all right.
Yeah.
Like I don't
know him. What have you seen him in?
You know him. He was in the Outfit. He was the young guy in The Outfit.
Okay.
And he's in God, was it The Maze Runner? Was that what he was in?
Really?
He was in Teen Wolf. If you ever watched Teen Wolf.
So
he was in Maze Runner, Teen Wolf.
Right. He's coming up with this role, kind of, is what we're feeling, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been around. I just like, I'm not
the biggest fan.
I'm not.
Yeah, I feel it. He's all right.
He's okay.
I do like the conversation between him and Lorne Michaels in the trailer, but still didn't feel like Dan Aykroyd per se.
Yeah,
but I'm excited. I love early SNL, and I think it's cool.
Yeah, this is probably my new most anticipated movie.
Really? Wow.
Though I'm also blanking on
other movies that are coming out.
What soon. Other movies are coming out?
Well, soon. Joker 2 is pretty big.
Joker 2 is pretty big.
Yeah.
Joker 2 is pretty big. Is there anything else that's coming out?
Within the next year. Oh, sure. Are you saying this year or just within the
this year?
This year? I don't know if there's anything else gigantic that's coming out. So yeah, those three are pretty big.
Yeah.
So next and lastly, we are going to discuss, I think, the finale and kind of broadly about season 2, our thoughts about season 2 of House of the Dragon. We didn't get to review the last couple of episodes, so we might talk about those as well. But yeah, I think we just want to discuss and give our thoughts on this season and the finale.
Yeah.
So I know the talk and kind of the headlines around the season and the finale were that it was a disappointing one, especially the finale. I think it's the lowest rated finale since the series finale of Game of Thrones. I thought this was honestly a good finale. I just didn't think, I think as a whole on the season, it's a little disappointing to not end on, I think we had all wanted dragon fights for so long, and then we got one, and then we didn't get another one for the rest of the season. And I think people wanted more action, more excitement. And Game of Thrones is very known for like its, what do you call it? Like the penultimate episode, or and so like the second to last episode was really exciting, but it was just people claiming dragons and not maybe the action that we fully came for House of the Dragon for. And I don't know. I think this season in general was a lot more build up than people were expecting. I think people, and myself included, were expecting more of an all-out war this season, whereas we're now, I think, guaranteed by the start of next season to be in that all-out war. It just, basically both sides had to build up its armies and their dragons and get to a spot where they can fight. So I get it. I get why it was a little disappointing. I also agree that it's not as good as season one. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts too.
Well, the criticism from last season that like, oh, there's too many time jumps. The time jumps were what let us get to exciting things quicker. And
Agreed.
That it also provided us to have like to jump into like, well, where's the characters at now? Now we can be told things about how the characters act now through different cool interactions and new places that they've been, and it's exciting to us.
Right.
And we get to kind of see the generational like problems kind of start to come out and spread. And so when people are like, oh, enough with the time jumps, I was like, well, the time jumps are doing this show really like is what is so exciting.
It did work really well for season one.
And it worked really well. And I would have been cool with time jumps, little tiny ones, but I would have been cool with time jumps this season too. I think the idea of like, now we've slowed down to like taking it, not exactly like, it's not like we're following it super slowly, because there is like, maybe like we jump a week ahead or, a couple days ahead.
Well, I mean, and they did do that. Like there did seem to be points where like weeks would pass or like maybe a month would pass.
Right.
But it didn't feel obvious, I don't think, to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Whereas like they made it very apparent when like years would pass in House of the Dragon season 1.
Right.
Yeah.
But you would even skip like a year after like episode 1 or 2 of House of the Dragon season 1.
Yep.
And obviously like this war only takes place over X amount of years.
Right.
And so it's like, you can't do a ton with that, but I did.
And there's a lot of context I think they want to show for sure.
Right. But what I wanted to get at was I wasn't particularly like thrilled that we were like slowing down in that aspect,
right?
Because then we have the problem of potentially staying on topics for too long,
right? Which I mean, clearly is what happened with like, and I like, I don't know if everyone agrees with this, but I think a lot of people were sick of Daemon's arc by the end of the season.
Yes,
because he was having hallucinations for 6 episodes straight, and you're like, we have to move on at some point, So
overall, before I get into that,
right,
not as good as season 1.
Right. Yeah.
I like the finale.
I do too.
I think people now, me and Hannah were both like, oh yeah, absolutely dragon fight tonight. Absolutely. No
I thought it too. Right.
No way there's not a dragon fight. Okay.
Yes.
So no dragon fight.
Yeah.
That isn't the thing that they wanted to tell. Still great episode. Great finale, I thought. I think it was just the expectations were there. So I expected it. I didn't get it. It didn't make me go, oh, I hate this show. The show's so bad.
Right.
There were important things and really cool scenes that happened, and we can get into those.
Right.
But regarding Daemon, which I feel like is one of the parts of the season that everybody got really upset about. I don't think the idea of the hallucinations was bad, and I liked what they were trying to do. Like, they were obviously trying to set up for that scene at the end of in the finale, which was great. That was an awesome scene. I love that where he's like kneeling to her and
No, that was great. I loved all that. And like obviously him seeing the dream was amazing too.
Right.
That's really what the whole season was building up to him doing.
Which what's frustrating is I don't think you'd have to ask me again after I've given some time to think about how to go about it. But it was something that like the payoff was great.
Yes.
But was it something that needed the amount of time that was given to it?
Right.
I don't think so, because yes, we slowly got to see him. Like, yes, he
changed his perspective.
He as a person needed to change, because that is such an integral part of him for so long, that he needed to have that time to accept the visions and accept the dreams and accept that like he doesn't want he doesn't want the crown anymore.
Right.
But it still was done in a way, or at least it was spread out so long that like, and the visions and the dreams were so brief that they were so brief that
some of them were great. I did love some of them. Right.
They were good, but like they were brief and they didn't like, I would have preferred like 2 episodes worth of him like having these massive dreams that eventually led to that, than opposed to spreading them out over 6 episodes where like, what's going on with Damon?
Genuinely, we didn't need to see him every episode either. Like we could have just not gone back to him like maybe every other episode.
Right. Yeah, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
I did, but with that, it wasn't just the dreams. It was obviously him like failing at, you know, trying to deal with the Riverlands, and then eventually like having this young dude just kind of be like, well, you were fucking with me, so now I'm gonna have to make you cut off the head of this.
You're right. That this kid like gave him the first like real like, damn, do I even want to rule anymore? Like that I just had to do this. Like I didn't like that at all. You know? I don't know. I do think like the benefit of all that was getting to a point where we fully understand Damon as a character. I think beforehand it was very hard to know what was going on inside of his mind, and because he had a lot of different paths that he went down himself in season 1, and he seemingly changed his mind at certain points and what he wanted, and so I think it was good to clear that up. It just took too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do love seeing Aegon's dream that I guess he kind of saw as well.
Which also Helena.
Yeah, that was a really big reveal in the season finale, that she is like guaranteed to be this like seer, this vision haver basically. And she spoke directly to Damon in the dream. And it's crazy. I do love it. I love her progression. I think it's my favorite episode for her so far. I especially love the conversation she has with Aegon right after. It's like it's such a badass like moment for her, and basically it's just like, yeah, I've seen it. You're gonna die, and it's just like, whoa, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think that was great for us to finally get that confirmation, because it was very alluded to throughout seasons 1 and 2, for sure.
Which, like, I don't know if they put the 3-eyed actual raven in the dream as just like a, hey, for all you that know, like, we're in that space, or if she is going to be a 3-eyed raven.
From what I know is that like that guy is the first 3-eyed raven.
Okay.
So, and that is like a young, like who we saw is like a young version of him. And from what I know, I want to say he hasn't been born yet. So there isn't a 3-eyed raven at the moment. And so, yeah, I thought that was cool. Seeing the White Walkers was cool, even though it wasn't like our version of the Night King that we saw. But yeah, I thought that dream was great, and seeing Daenerys is very cool. Even though I think a lot of people assumed that they were like that's the prince who was promised. Like they're telling us right there. And I don't know if you saw, but like they came out afterwards and was like, yeah, that's not what we were trying to say with that. We're just trying to let you all know that like they, basically down the timeline directly from Rhaenyra and Daemon will come, Daenerys.
Right.
And so, I think she's a big part in what's to come, and she's obviously the last like of the Targaryen lineage. So right. I think that's what they're showing. And it was cool seeing that again, or seeing that in House of the Dragon, I should say. Yeah. But I don't know if you want to talk about like a couple of things that happened in the couple like past 2 episodes. I think like for me, one of my favorite, and I think we talked about a little bit, was like the new Dragon Riders. I think they've been very like fun and a nice, exciting kind of new addition to the season at the very end of it. Like I really was liking all of the kind of, they were really focusing and building on like these like small folk throughout the entire season. And I was like, oh, this is really nice to just get a perspective of people within King's Landing that are not, the lords and are being affected by everything the Targaryens are doing. But it was, and so they kind of, at least for me, they flipped the script on that and were like, no, we're actually going to use these characters in the larger story, which I was like, oh, that's a nice twist.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I think Ulf has been hilarious, like around the Targaryens, even though I definitely wouldn't blame them if they wanted to just chop off his head because how rude he's been.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought like Hugh the Hammer claiming his dragon was one of the best moments of the season. And that whole like, ending scene of that episode where, Targaryen bastards are just getting heads chopped off and lit on fire. It's just, yeah, it was intense and really exciting. Yeah.
I really like those 2 characters. I'm excited to see them like interact with the rest of the main cast so far.
Yeah.
Going to the finale though.
Right.
Was not expecting Alicent to show up with Helena.
Dude, that was crazy. Well, she wasn't there with Helena, was she?
I thought she was. She was like, I thought she was like saying like, do you want to leave? And then Helena was like, yes, I do.
Yeah, but I think Helena, I don't think she went with Alicent to like Dragonstone.
Maybe not, but I feel like it's implied that like she at least is gonna be taken away. Right. Those 2 are trying to escape, basically. But even before that, having like Aemon just being like, you're riding this dragon, you're coming.
I don't blame him, honestly. Like they are all about to get slaughtered. And Alicent's like, not this way. And I'm like, no, you don't have any other options. Okay. You need dragon riders.
Well,
you got basically 7. Go on.
Well, she doesn't want the fighting.
But it's inevitable. And Alicent started it, and she's a hypocrite. And I, it's frustrating. And I don't necessarily disagree with Aemon, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You need to protect your family and yourself. And if you're just going to run away, you're dooming them.
But she obviously, after going to see Rhaenyra, like she is avoiding it. She is like, and she's like, I'm going to have to kill your son. And she's like, okay.
Which is, and I didn't feel bad for Alicent because she's literally sacrificing one of her kids, but like I could feel the emotion in that scene so much. I got emotional just seeing Alicent like her nod her head and like being almost like severely distraught afterwards that she even like nodded yes was really beautiful acting, honestly. And so yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes in the episode. I've also loved like the conflict with Rhaenyra and Jace in the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Where he's really, I mean, he called her out. Like he's like, I know, obviously, like I've always known, and he's not happy with, you know, non-rightful Targaryens having dragons. And I totally get it. I get where he's coming from, but obviously you need dragon riders, and it is what it is.
And like I get what originally his plan was not the bastards. Right. They were, you know, people of noble descent. Yeah. And
that had Targaryen lineage.
And I was like, okay, but you did kind of start this, and like I get what you're saying, but like I appreciate that by the end of it, like he kind of like him and was it Bela? Him and Bela kind of talking is like, you should like, are you really gonna let this like define you? Like you should like own it. And
I've liked their dynamic. Yeah. Bela's been good this season for sure. But yeah, we also get this this episode. Is it Rhaena? Okay,
that was an actual big letdown for me though. With all the stuff with her, like we found out about this dragon,
Sheep Stealer, I think is his name.
Sheep Stealer. We found out about this dragon 2 episodes prior to the finale. She then goes and runs off.
Abandoning her post by protecting the kids.
Abandoning her post.
Right.
And then sleeps in the cold.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. How is no one looking for her? And I know that's a big complaint a lot of people had. Like, she is Daemon's daughter. Like, you don't think if she just goes missing, he's going to, like, kill everyone that was responsible? You know? Like, I don't know. It's a little weak, I think. But
and then
go on.
She finds the dragon.
Right.
But that's it.
And then it's a cliffhanger, right? I think it's very assumed she's going to get the dragon next season.
Well, but since it didn't show that, it makes me go right. But it makes me go like, well, either it was lame and you didn't show her get on the dragon, which would have been cool,
right?
Or maybe something bad happens. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very plausible something bad happens to Rhaenyra's kids because she's not around protecting them. So
that might be it. But
yeah,
it might be. But then I'd love to know what happens to those dragon eggs.
Agreed. I mean, because clearly, like,
but also, they
separate from?
Can you really blame? Can you really blame Rhaena? You know what I mean? Because like, what's she gonna do? Like they still have like knights with her. You know.
I feel you. I get it, but I don't know. She shouldn't have left her post. I guess she wants a dragon. I get they're kind of giving her like this character called Nettles from the book. Like she's kind of getting her storyline from what I can kind of gather, because she's the one who gets this dragon in the books. Mm-hmm. I just don't think they've combined the two stories well. And I think I agree. I think it would have been very nice to see her get on a dragon by the end of the season. Right? Yeah. The other big thing this finale was the inclusion of Tywin. I can't remember his name. The Lannister, the Master of Ships. Probably my least favorite part of this finale.
I love that part.
I just think what felt so unnatural about it was that yes, we'd been getting like little hints about like, yes, there's a blockade, people aren't happy about it, blah, blah, blah. But like, there really wasn't a thread with him, like the Lannister this season. And it felt like he became like an important side character just at the last episode, where we could have been focusing on other things. Like I get that's needed context, but it just wasn't built up enough for me to give it like such a big side plot.
I don't know. I feel like it's happened I feel like it's happened in other seasons before where like a character shows up and you're like, well, that's happening. But like, I thought it was done really well. Like we could understand that like, was this his twin, like the twin of the Lannister I think it's, but from what I understand, this is the Lannister that is on the council.
Yes, it is. It is.
So like he went to.
Sure. I get it. It's not unnatural, but I just think you needed to build it up just a little more for it to feel better. Like that it came.
Well, what would you do? Like, hey guys, in the previous episode, I'm going to. So-and-so.
I think they needed to have a council, like a small council talk about the basically they have a huge army, right? But they don't have anything to counter the sea snake, and so they're like, we need to, one, get rid of the blockade, and two, find a way to match the sea snake's ships, army, whatever you want to call it.
Right, but they've been talking about the blockade like all season and how it's like you can see the effect that it's having on people.
Right.
And so like in that opening scene, you can already like infer and also hear from them that like, hey, we really need you. And like they even say, it sounds like you need us more than we need you. So me personally, like I didn't need a build up. Like it was fun. It worked for me, and I love the new character that I
don't mind the character. I would have cast someone else like entirely different. They just look a little young, I think, to be like I would have wanted somebody with much more age, someone who like everyone is respecting. I think I would have wanted somebody who is gruffer like a pirate. Like they just had a very Britishy accent that didn't seem sailor-like to me at all. I just wasn't loving the character, to be honest. That's just me though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't hate like his journey through it. I think there's some amusing points. But yeah, I don't know. Whereas like a lot of the season feels, I know like there's dragons in the show, but a lot of the season does feel grounded in a sense. When we were in that setting, it just felt very fantasy like we were in this like fantasy tropical area, and a bunch of the pirates had blue hair, and I don't know. It felt less Game of Thronesy than before. But I know the world is vast and has different aesthetics. I just think that was my weakest part of the finale, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta hard disagree with you, but
sure. That's fine.
I mean, it's like we've seen, like was that what was that? Was that? It's not Dorne, is it?
I'm assuming it was just somewhere in Essos. I assumed.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Like we've been to Dorne, we've been to Essos, and like it felt like very similar to me. Like it really didn't feel that different, and especially when they're fighting in like the mud. Like
right. I think maybe where I'm disconnecting is that they're. And I guess we can call that character a he, since they referred to the character as a he. But like, besides that, the backgrounds to me for like the first time, like it felt clearly like a CGI background. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. I mean, when we first see it, yes.
Whenever you see like the big palm trees in the back, I think that's when you can feel like it's very like, created background.
Yes, but we don't see that for long.
No, you don't.
And like I can point to plenty of times where I look at backdrops for other parts of the season that are in Westeros, and I'm like, that is not a real place. It looks cool, but it's not a real place, and I can tell.
Yeah. But I do think the other last important like thread of this season, it was cool to see Aegon listen to Larys's advice, and for them to go off and hide and wait for this to blow over. And I think I see where it's going now. I almost feel like the two sides are going to annihilate themselves, and he might just be the last one standing, and he might be able to just continue on and rule afterwards. Which would be wild if like we didn't see him for like season 3 at all, or like like we don't see him until season 4 maybe, and then he's like, yeah, I'm coming back, I'm the king. I don't know. It could be neat, but like, I mean, Helena really like says it. Like, she's like, he's going to be king again and you're going to be dead. So, yeah, I mean, and it seems like she knows a lot. So maybe her visions don't come to light, but it seems like they have been, at least.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's this, I don't know. I think the other disappointment people were feeling was that like, this was just so much setup for season 3. And I get it, but I think that is what a lot of last episodes of the season do. Like, they set you up for the next season. But you know, from what I hear, like, them having to shrink this season down from 10 to 8 episodes wasn't their decision, and that they wanted to have this battle of the gullet between the sea snake and the pirates this season, but they, I think, left it for season 3 instead. So it would have been cool to get a little longer of a season, maybe get that battle in, but yeah, and maybe just leaving, you know, like, Tywin to talk with the pirates at the very end instead of like maybe multiple episodes by the end of the season could have felt more natural. Yeah. But yeah, I think overall it was a good season, just a little slow, and I'm hoping the pacing picks up in the next couple of seasons.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's, I think, all we had to discuss on and talk about with our thoughts for season 2 of House of the Dragon. So I think that is now everything we wanted to talk about this episode. As always, I want to thank you for sticking around and watching and listening to what we had to talk about. If you want to watch and listen to us in the future, we release on Mondays and clips on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And that's going to be on YouTube, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. If you want to follow our social medias, those links are in the description below. And if you want to give us a like, a comment, a rating, a review, or a subscribe, we'd always appreciate it.
And as always, until next time.